If I'm talking to you, I'm talking to you.
You talking to me.
Right. So, yeah. So a lot of times I want to talk to women to say take care of themselves because you could be a boss. You can be a superwoman, but you only get one of you. And if you don't take care of you, you can't do all those great things that you want to do in life if you're not here to do them.
Tell us about a moment where you wish you would have said something and you didn't. There's nothing better than this. Say what you mean, say what you mean, say what you mean, say what you mean, say what you mean. Hey, what's up? It's your girl, Aida Rodriguez, and welcome to another episode of Say What You Mean, where some of my favorite people and some of your favorite people stop by to say and tell us those stories about those moments in their lives where they wish they would have said something and they didn't. I always start off with my own Say What You Mean. Sometimes they get a little spicy. Sometimes they can be mean, and sometimes they are as follows. Honestly, if I could have said something to my grandmother before she passed away, it's taken me quite some time to process this. My grandmother passed away in 2013. She died of cancer. I wish that I would have told her that she was enough, because I don't think she heard that enough. I don't think that she probably ever heard it from the adults in her family. And I really wish I knew at that moment to tell her that she was enough, because she was more than enough. So that's my Say What You Mean for today. Now, joining me on the show is this fascinating woman who is funny. She's inspiring. She's all over the place. I saw her on Viola Davis's page, and she's so relatable. She does a lot of content that many of us, especially women, can see themselves in. She normalizes a lot of the things that people do not want to have conversations about, and she makes parenting fun. It's so relatable. I commented on one of her posts, and people are still responding to that comment, because she did a video about motherhood and your mama coming into the room eating, and I'll say my mom would do that while eating a mango. But she's so awesome, and I'm so glad that she's here. She's an entrepreneur, an advocate, a comedian. She's the founder of Laughter on the Go, and she's also a speaker. Please welcome Dr. Shanta Quilette Develle.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you for being here.
Pleasure to be here. Thank you so much.
Yeah, how's it going? Tell us, how's it been?
Everything is going good. You know, I have to thank God, because it has been a tumultuous journey for me.
Okay.
You know, and so I'm just grateful just to be alive and just to be seen. So thank you for having me here, because I think it is so important when someone acknowledges your hard work.
Oh, yeah.
And sees what you are, what God has put before you.
I think it's really interesting to see you. The reason why so many people love you is because they can relate to you, because you feel like somebody that we all know. You know, it doesn't feel pretentious. It doesn't feel superficial. It just feels like that's the homegirl.
Right.
You know, and I think the videos that you do about motherhood, and, you know, just recently you shared an experience about something that happened to you that was pretty tragic, and someone made a very negative comment about you, which pissed me off. And I was like, why? Like, who does that? But I would love for you to share with us, you know.
Which one would they say?
It was when you said that they told you look older than what you looked.
Yeah.
And you were talking about you're having a traumatic medical
absolutely
trauma and experience. And I just really feel like for someone who just strives to bring joy to everybody, it was really annoying to see somebody trying to bring you down.
Yeah, a lot of times people just project, you know, and anytime someone says something negative, I always try to find the positive into it, you know, because in reality, you know, they said that I looked like I was 60 years old. And in my mind, I should look older than that, you know, everything that I've gone through. And so that was okay. You know, I'm trying to get to 60. So if I look 60, that's okay with me. You don't know people's, you know, life journey, their story, where they come from. And so you have to be very careful when you speak on God's people.
That's
you know,
right.
You have to be very careful. But like I said, I'm very unbothered. I'm very unbothered. So I like to take the situation. The only person who can call me old is my son, which
that's what they do,
which he loves to do all the time. But but like I said, I do my best to find the positivity in everything.
Absolutely.
And as we all should.
Yeah. I didn't want to dwell on that, but I did want to speak up and say that I see you.
Yeah.
And I did comment because I was annoyed. So tell me how it feels to be like, to go viral in the way that you did. And so many people, I mean, Viola Davis loves you.
Yes, that's like my best friend in my head.
I know, me too.
I was like, girl, get me on the big screen or something. If you see this Viola, I'm trying to get there, honey.
I love it.
But, it was not intentional.
Okay.
So it was not intentional. I had no idea what virality was. I had no idea really the impact social media can make. Now, I was a blogger back in the day, but it had nothing on what social media is right now. And so I was going through a really hard time. I had not too long had a stroke. I was battling my own mental health because, I was like, you can't plan for a stroke. So one day you're thriving and feeling good, and I went to work, thinking that I had the rest of my week planned out, and passed out at work, and it was never the same. Never went back. And so one of the days I was at occupational therapy. I used to do 3 to 4 days of occupational, physical, cognitive, and speech therapists. Look, I still need work, y'all. Speech therapy. And it was 4 hours a day. And it was hard. It was very hard, very stressful. I had lost my independence. I was just really trying to find myself. And one day, my son, Addie, and my daughter, Sanaa, was like, hey, Mama, you want to get on TikTok? And I was like, well, what's that? And they were like, well, just come on, just do this video with us. And so I did the video with them, and I enjoyed it. Okay. And so they just kept getting us, and it was in the middle of the pandemic, too. So they were at home. So, every other minute, they were like, hey, let's do this, let's do that. And I started to enjoy it. Okay. I started to enjoy it. I started to love it. I told them to download it on my phone. At first, I just became a watcher. And I was just getting inspired. And my girlfriends were encouraging me. They're like, girl, you are so funny. And at the time, I didn't know what my place was. I would be cooking. I would be sharing stuff about my nonprofit. But one day, I was feeling terrible. I mean, terrible. And this is how I normally am. I'm glammed up, feeling good. But this day, I was, when my grandma would say, roll hard and put up wet. Okay. I was struggling. And so I picked up the phone and I started talking, and I started telling a story, which ended up being like a misdirected joke. And I was just sharing my pain and sharing how I felt. Woke up the next morning with millions and millions of followers and views, which I didn't even know what it meant until one of my coworkers called me and was like, hey, is this you? And I was at home on disability, y'all. So I was like, baby, they gonna see this and be like, you look like you talking real fine. You look like you look good. You can come back to work. And so it just started growing. The people started asking for more and more things, and my son started getting involved, which we our chemistry together is just amazing.
It's hilarious.
And so we just started doing videos just on real life. And then when women started talking about how I was changing their lives, and my story, and who I want to know more about you, I knew there was a greater need. It was more than just laughter. Yeah, it was more about healing and really getting people through their day and whatever they were going through, because I knew how hard it was for me.
Yeah. So Viola Davis posts your video. What's your reaction when you first see it?
I ran. I was like, listen, don't nobody else have to like my video. I don't care if I don't get another view. Listen, don't nobody have to say nothing else. Viola has spoken. Yeah. I was just enamored. I was like, you feel like I arrived. Like she co-signed on something. Yeah. And she's such a great and amazing actress, just a woman overall. So girl, I was like, listen, I'm on my way to Hollywood, child.
I love that she likes to highlight people. Yeah. Like she really does. Her page is it's inspiring, it's fun, it's real. And so tell me what the dream is. What is it that you want to do?
I want to write. I want to produce. I really want to have my own sitcom with my family based on me, the Hey Shanta Q show.
Okay.
And just this journey that I'm on, as, a, strong-armed IRS officer, revenue officer to a comedian. Because a lot of people like accountant, comedy, it just...
Yeah. So you were an IRS...
I was an IRS
you was
revenue
with the
officer.
ops?
I was with the IRS, yeah. I was with the ops. I was with the ops for my good government job.
Okay.
Where I retired.
Good.
Had been there almost 16 years. Yeah.
Did TikTok retire you from
TikTok
the IRS?
retired me.
Wow.
It was already, they were already, so doctors had already, and my job were already kind of trying to get me out because I was really fighting for something that God had already said was out the door.
Gotcha.
Because it's my job. And it was a good job. Like, it wasn't, most people like, oh, I'm glad this happened. I can go find something else. But I really love my job. I got my MBA, my degrees. So I knew what I wanted to do within the government. And God said it was something bigger. And so we, I was fighting for a while. And then the brand deal started coming in.
Beautiful.
And I was like, okay. All right, God, nice. I hear you loud and clear.
I'm so happy for you. That's inspiring for other people. Like, because, traumatic things happen in our lives and we think that's it. Like, that's going to be that's going to dictate what's going to happen from that point forward. And so here you are. You don't look like you've had a stroke. You don't look like you've been through what you said you've been through. You just look fresh and new, right? And
I always say, flip me inside out. It might show something different.
But still, it's like you, even after a stroke, a whole new chapter just began for you. Yeah. And now you are not working a day job anymore, living out your dreams and inspiring other people while you're doing it. Yeah. Like, that's so amazing.
It's amazing. God is good.
Yeah, I love watching you. It makes me laugh. It's relatable. It makes me feel good. The internet can be such a depressing place. Yeah. And people can be so mean. So being able to, like, I have a few places that I go to for laughter. And I like to, like him, and I can relate to it, like him helping you with the computer. Yeah. and my son would just be like, just wait till I get there. Just don't do anything. And it's so funny and so cute. Can you think of a moment where you wish you would have said something and you didn't?
So I had a good girlfriend. Okay. And we had a falling out. We had a big bad falling out, and we hadn't talked for years and years and years. And so she inboxed me and reached out, and I was still in my feelings because I was hurt, and I didn't reach back out. Mm-hmm. And at the time that I was ready, I went to her page and found that I guess she had like blocked me or whatever. Mm-hmm. So I work with the IRS, so I know how to get to people when I want to get to people. Okay. And so I had went to another page and found her. Oh. And she was deceased. Oh. She was deceased.
Oh, no.
And so I wish I would have said hello and continued that conversation that she was trying to have with me. Because now I don't know what she would have said, what we could have continued from that time to the time she was deceased. She was ill. I found out she had some complications from lupus. But yeah.
The fact that you're saying and here you're putting it out into the world, somebody's going to watch this and they're going to listen to you and they're going to go and respond to that message that person has sent them because they're not going to want that to happen to them.
Right.
But I'm sure she knew you.
Yeah. Don't hold on to the grudge till the grudge get tired, y'all.
Yeah. Oh, I know that very well. You have a grudge so long, and then one day you just think about it. And you're like, why was I mad at that person? Right. You don't even remember.
You don't even remember.
You just hold on to a feeling. It's so toxic.
Very.
So what's your favorite content to deliver to us on social media? What are the videos you enjoy the most?
Health and wellness.
Yeah.
I love health and wellness. That is something that's very impactful to me because it impacted my life. And I know how, as women, especially women of color, we walk around with these titles, Superwoman, and just I'm a boss and all these different things. And I'm like, you Superwoman, you can't even fly.
Yeah.
You're tired. You're trying to compete, and you're not taking care of yourself. And a lot of times we put so much effort in other people and not in ourselves.
Yeah.
We get put on the back burner, and then by the time we catch up, we're tired. We got headaches. We're struggling, and we don't know why. High cholesterol.
I feel attacked.
High blood pressure. Hey, if I'm talking to you, I'm talking to you.
You're talking to me.
Right. So, yeah. So a lot of times I want to talk to women to say take care of themselves, because you could be a boss. You can be a superwoman, but you only get one of you. And if you don't take care of you, you can't do all those great things that you want to do in life if you're not here to do them.
That's right. So if you have some tips to give us for health and wellness, like some basic things we can walk away, what would those things be?
Know your numbers. Okay. Know your numbers. Know your numbers. It's so important. Your blood pressure, your cholesterol. Know your numbers. Go to your doctor. Be in tune with your body.
Okay.
If it don't feel right, it ain't right.
That's right.
A lot of times we feel things going on. I had my symptoms 2 weeks before I had my heart attack.
So can you tell us what those symptoms are? Because from what I read, women have heart attacks differently than men, and they only advertise and promote the symptoms of heart attack according to how men have them.
Right.
So what are some of the...
Yeah, and they do most of the testing on men too. That's why we have to get more women in clinical trials and things like that. But we don't have the atypical symptoms that men have. As far as everybody on TV is like, oh my chest.
Yeah.
But no, I had a headache. I had shoulder pain. They always say that the pain is going to be on the left side, but a lot of my pain was on the right side. I felt tired. That was the one that stood out the most. Fatigue, just tired, not because you having sleepless nights, not because you've overworked, tired. Like you just can't even explain it. I remember telling my husband, I'm like, I don't know why I feel so tired. Jaw pain. I had jaw pain. That was probably the symptom that stood out. And my body fighting I was vomiting. I started vomiting. They said that's like the last warning sign, your body's line of defense. So it was.
You had all those symptoms.
I had all those symptoms for 2 weeks. I thought I was coming down with the flu.
Oh.
I kept saying, and my story goes from 8 years of misdiagnosis. So doctors was already telling me that I was stressed out and it wasn't my heart and all these different things when it was my heart. So when the symptoms came, I dismissed them to something else. Yeah.
Well, I'm glad you're good. I'm glad that you're okay. How does your husband feel about your success? And
he loves it. He loves it. We're trying to retire. We're trying to retire Boo Thang. Yeah. He been taking care of us for so long. Aww. And, he's always let me live my dreams. And, from going to school, whatever I wanted to do, he's always supported that. And so now, at first he was like, okay, so what is this? You're going to be doing comedy on the internet? Like, how is that going to work? And then when them checks start coming in, he was like, well, let me fix your hair. Let me hold the light up for you. Let me put your lipstick on. I don't like them shoes. You should wear them. So yeah, he's so supportive. He's like,
where you found him at?
I always tell him he's a 100% disabled vet. So women on Veterans Day go to Chili's, Waffle House, Applebee's, Starbucks. Might come with a little PTSD, but he's a good man, Savannah.
She said he's a good man, Savannah. That is so funny. He should do workshops. Like he should school some of these men. What's next? What's next for you? What is our entrepreneurial stuff? What are you doing?
Yeah, so I'm working on, I have a brand called Girl Be Natural that I've had since 2019. Okay. And we've been fighting perimenopause. I started perimenopause right after my stroke at 40 years old. And so I could not be on any type of hormone treatment because of my health condition. And so I created a brand to help women thrive naturally. And so now that the conversation back in 2009, it was still taboo. Yes. Women didn't want to talk about it. Yes. And so now you have all these women, Halle Berry, having these conversations. I'm like, okay, well, I have a hot flash spray and I have a whole body deodorant because nobody wants to talk about how we be getting musty and funky and stanky. And listen, I'm gonna tell you, I was struggling. It took my mama to tell me, Yeah,
no, it took them Southern moms would tell you. They'd be like,
baby, you got a smell to you. Mama love you, ain't trying to hurt your feelings, but you got to do something about that.
A body deodorant. I think I'm glad that they're having the conversation. Yeah. I'm sad that it had to be glamorized by these big celebrities for it to be.
Because nothing is glamorous about it.
No. But sometimes I'll watch Halle Berry and I'll be like, here she go with this boo. Because she be saying some stuff that makes me feel weird. Like my stomach was all messed up. And I'm like, we don't want to hear this from Catwoman.
Yeah.
It's weird.
Speaking of the cat, right?
Yeah. So you have a brand. So the brand is, people can find it on social media.
Yeah, Girl Be Natural .co. And just like continuing what I'm doing, you know, advocacy, patient advocacy is everything. You know, I just worked with Bristol Myers on a campaign. Nice. You might have seen that on social media a couple of days ago. We were filming at my house, really trying to tell the story, the patient's story. Nice. You know, a lot of times doctors, you know, people want to hear from doctors, but they want to hear from the patient. They want to hear from the person who was actually affected. And I think that's really important. So really trying to tell that story and also trying to get more women in clinical trials so we can do these studies so they won't just be on white men in their 50s. We need to do it on us. I know there's a lot of, you know, it's problematic because we go back to Tuskegee and we know the results of clinical trials, but you know, we need people like myself and people who are part of the community to be boots on the ground and say this has been working. And some of my friends in the breast cancer community, it enhanced the quality of their lives. You know, it added 5 or 6 years to their metastatic breast cancer diagnosis. And so I think it is so important for me, like with ASCVD, like I want my condition to be something that's livable, that doesn't have a life expectancy on it.
Oh, well, I love that. All right, so here on the show we have a segment called "Should Have Kept That," and I'll share a story with you, and which is hilarious because it's so apropos. I'll share the story with you, and then you tell me if you think they should have kept that.
Okay.
All right. I went on a date with my girlfriend to a rage room where you're supposed to destroy things. We decided to start yelling fun things while we were breaking things. At one point, I yelled, "Fix your pH balance." I was just saying things and I wasn't necessarily talking about her, but she didn't talk to me for the rest of the night. Your face says it all.
Negro, what? Fix your pH.
But should he not tell her? Like, or maybe that's just not the place?
Not in the rage. What he mad? He mad? You should have kept that.
He should have kept that?
He should have kept that. Because those people, you don't be in a room by yourself.
Oh, really? I didn't know if you in a rage room there. Fix. Oh,
when you breaking stuff and it's a private room. Oh, okay. Well, I guess.
But is it? I mean, maybe at a different setting.
But he was angry. Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds like.
I don't know, child. Listen.
Yeah, you should have kept it.
But I guess you want to know. Like I would want to know instead of, you know. I guess it's like my grandma said, it's a way to say things, baby.
Yeah, no, I'm saying there's difference than I love you, baby. You know, maybe we should talk about this.
Yeah.
Then. Wash your
be ready to fight. Listen.
That is so it's so funny, like because of your products, right? And you talked about the body spray. Like I think normalizing people's bodies have odors.
Yeah,
right?
they
And
do.
some people like to act like that's not the case because they're super clean. But the reality of it is that the reason why we have products and we do the things that we do is because everybody sweats, everybody uses the bathroom. And so when you were thinking about this body spray, what was it? What made you say while you working on some products, we gonna get some body deodorant?
Whole body. Well, my grandmother, you know, growing up, my grandmother used to she would use Tussie and Mitchum.
Oh,
and
yeah,
she would have two, and one was for your underarms and one was for your whole body. Okay. And so some of my cousins were, you know, thicker, and so she would always say, you know, a big tail needs some deodorant on it, right? You put your butt in the tub and soak. And so I was always taught that as a form of hygiene. And so as I got older, I didn't really have a huge issue with body odor or smelling. But when I started going through perimenopause, I started to stink.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
Underarms a little bit mustier than normal. And then I'm telling you, my mom was sitting next to me. We were somewhere, and she was like,
Because it's hormonal, right?
It's hormonal. And she said, baby, I ain't trying to hurt your feelings, but you gotta smell. You gotta smell.
Okay.
And I was like, I do. And I was like, oh, yeah, you're right. Oh, I do.
So you said body spray it is.
Yeah. Well, I started trying to find stuff. I tried to start finding stuff because it wasn't just coming from my underarms. It was just it was sweat and I can't even. It wasn't tuna, but it was more of I can get. How deep do you want me to get?
You can get as deep as you want to get.
Look at my son's over there like, Mama, please. Mama, please don't. Mama, please stop. Please. But no, it was like, it was body odor. It was abnormal body odor that I was not used to. And I realized that my body was going through a change that I wasn't used to. And so I was trying to do the Mitchum, but then I had a nonprofit organization where we advocated for clean products. Okay. And so I didn't want to use the Mitchum. I didn't want to use the Tussie. I didn't want to use anything that had carcinogens in it or anything like that. I wanted to find something healthy and couldn't find it. Couldn't find anything healthy.
Well, now they have a whole bunch.
Yeah, they have a whole bunch of stuff. Yeah, and I couldn't find anything on the shelves. And I talked to my father, who had been a chemical compounder for Mary Kay and a few other companies, and he was telling me to go private label. And I was like, Dad, I don't want to go private label. I want to do natural. So he told me some of the ingredients I could use. I got certified as a herbalist and aromatherapist while I was on my recovery journey, on my recovery as a stroke patient. And started mixing different products. And my nonprofit, we do care packages. And so in those care packages, I put samples of the deodorants in with no labels or anything because I really didn't know what I was doing at first. Okay. And some of those women who were receiving our Mint with Love boxes said, hey, where can I get some of that deodorant that you had in your box? And I was like, well, I made it. And so that's how Girl Be Natural came about. And I forgot about the dream that I had. I was musty in my dream, and I was
damn.
you know how your subconscious mind do.
Absolutely.
And so I was musty in my dream, and I was talking to God, and God was like, "Girl, be natural. Just be natural." And that's how we came up with the name Girl Be Natural. And so all our products are clean, and they fight the symptoms of perimenopause and also any other postpartum or hormone changes that you have due to any chronic illness that a woman may have.
Oh, that's so lovely. All right, so this next section is called Say It With Your Chest. And so it's a lightning round of questions where we get to know you better.
Okay.
Smash or pass sushi boats?
What is it?
Sushi boats.
Smash.
Okay. Would you rather casino or the spa?
Spa.
How old were you when you first got on an airplane?
20.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fight or flight, 9 hedgehogs?
Flight.
That was Alexis. If you could say anything to your favorite teacher, what would you say?
I wouldn't say she was my favorite teacher, but her name was Miss Happy.
Okay.
She was her name was Miss Happy, Happi.
Okay.
And she was my second grade teacher. And I used to cut up in class and try to repeat Dolomite jokes and things that I heard from my dad. And she said, Miss Carter, take your show on the road, not my classroom. And now when I go back and hear those words, because she never told me to stop. Yeah. She just told me to take my show on the road. And now going back and looking at where I'm at now, she spoke life over me. Nice. She spoke life over me. She saw something that I didn't know that was coming ahead of me.
That's so interesting. We've heard that more than once today. Not necessarily that the teacher inspired you through, the words of like, you gonna be great, you gonna make, but just inadvertently inspiring you or by the use of words. And now you are taking your show on the road.
My show is on the road.
And are you having a good time?
I'm having an amazing time because I'm free, full of joy, at peace.
Yes.
And just happy.
And getting big brand checks.
Baby. big ones. Child.
I love it. I love it. I love how I love to balance the floor, right? Yeah. I love when people find out a way to win anyway, in spite of all of the, the difficulties that are thrown at people of color, Black people. to find a way to still win, it really feels like victory to me, you know? And so do you want to be in a movie with Viola? Is that a dream?
I would love to be. And Octavia Spencer just became my friend too. So
she did?
Yes. So I'm like, God is speaking, but I would love.
Do you feel like that I feel that way about you. You feel like the social media people are your friends?
I do. I do.
Me too.
Because a lot of people, you spend a lot of time with people we're on, like even you, like I'm a fan of yours.
Oh, thank you. I'm a fan of yours.
Yeah, well, listen. Come on,
I think that's how it works. Women are supposed to support other women.
Support women. It's so important.
Yeah.
You know, with everything that's going on in the world, sometimes all we have is each other. Yeah. And I think it's so important. But yeah, Aida.
Okay.
Am I saying it right? Aida Rodriguez.
That's I love it.
Rodriguez. Yeah. But
I love the emphasis.
Yeah.
Well, we wish you the best, and we want even more people to follow you and to follow your journey. So please tell them how they can find you and how they can follow you.
You can find me on Hey Shanta Q on all social media channels. I don't know after January 19th if you're going to find me on TikTok, but if it's still life there, Hey Shanta Q TV on TikTok.
Oh, I can't wait to watch. And thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
I'm so happy that you made it. We appreciate you. Thank you for being here on Say What You Mean. We want to invite you to follow us on social media at SWYM Pod on all social media platforms. If you are listening, please hit the subscribe button if you're on Spotify or Apple. If you are watching, please hit the subscribe button. Don't forget to give us your rating and your review. And we will see you next time on Say What You Mean.